So as usual, I'm not going to be referencing back to the manga. It's been 11 episodes so far and still ain't gonna be doing it, especially for next season as well, which comes out sometime in October. Not sure how many episodes, but there is an official announcement for it. Season 2, Tokyo Ghoul Reanime, Season 2. So yeah, very tedious, and I don't want to sit here picking apart everything that the anime has missed. I like putting this clarification out there because people ask me all the time, why do you mention this shit? It's because I can't be fucking bothered and it's very tedious. And I want to try and enjoy the anime for what it's worth. It's the reason why I put this in here. I want to enjoy it knowing that I don't have to completely decipher everything and make it a worse experience for myself. So I feel like I enjoy it better. I feel like you guys will enjoy it better, and it's as simple as that, really. So, alright, so this episode was pretty simplistic in nature, basically just giving us a lot of fights, a lot of different characters fighting, help kind of fleshing out the uniqueness of said individual characters, said pieces, help build up the final episode next week, and basically the big conclusion, climatic fights for the season. Like I said, a lot of different things going down. There's like 3-4 different fights, and that's basically all there is. There is a little bit of heartfelt moments and a little bit of character interaction that helps build emotion, especially towards the end of the episode when you find out a little bit more about Kanai or Karen, I should say, to help kind of wrap that character towards the conclusion. Pretty simplistic, but at the same time, you're balancing all these fights. You're trying to balance character interaction. You're going to lose one or the other at the end of the day. They wanted to go for fights. They really did. So to kind of propel the Tsukiyama raid forward, there is an abundance of very interesting individuals that come out to play and that we get a lot of spotlight on. The first one I want to talk about is Matsume versus Haru. For some reason, I feel like Studio Periots pay a lot of attention to Haru in terms of animation. I feel like she got the best spotlight, but I don't know if that's just like her pink hair being flashy or they just like to give her a lot of attention, but she ultimately comes to a conclusion very abruptly as well in the terms of the season, because you've only basically just seen her like just recently and now she's basically already gone. So in the essence of the season, she's a pretty fickle character. She got introduced, she got into a couple of fights, and she was kind of played upon being this, pretty powerful, pretty prevalent, and then she gets killed by Matsume, who's not the most incredibly powerful character, or the other guy that she's with, I should say. It was 2v1 at the end of the day, but I think the situation where Haru did get killed was very goofy. I will point that out specifically, but other than that, I feel like the interaction with Haru and how she handled the fight in general was pretty nicely done, because you seen like a different side of her. She got like a little Arima flashback as well, or at least a little pocket of emotion to help kind of drive her to the final stages of her conclusion. She pulls out like this massive experimental weapon and goes completely crazy with it. That's basically that. It was pretty cool. It was pretty nice. Kojima, or whatever his name is, ultimately gets killed as well. He gets obliterated by the same people. Funny enough, Furuta also comes into the picture in that fight, which is the kind of early stages of the depiction of Furuta's character, which is good. It's nice to see. Now, this stuff would be a surprise to people if they didn't show Furuta in the opening. Probably the last time we'll talk about the opening and how it spoiled a lot of different things, but you're not meant to know that Furuta is all over the place in terms of his character, and then this episode obviously just proves it. Like, he literally uses an investigator as a meat shield and he does not care. It also showcases a bit of his prowess in terms of power, as he just completely defects Matsume in every way possible. He's kind of just like deflecting everything, dodging everything, and then he ultimately kills her. So pretty simple for him. It was a nice little taste of his character, nothing too over the top, but just to showcase, he's a little bit all over the place, he's a little bit evil, and he's a little bit wild. So I think the reaction for that potentially would have been a lot better if they completely left him out of the opening, but that's that. So the other big fight we got, which was personally my favorite of the entirety of the episode, was Noro versus like the whole Quink squad and a couple of other investigators. Now, Noro is a very, very interesting character, and just to kind of give people a heads up in terms of, what is he? You haven't seen a Kagane like that before. Us manga readers still don't know. To this day, Noro is a very mysterious character. He's got a very unique ability, or at least Kagane or Kagaja, whatever you want to call it, and he's all over the place. I've made theories talking about it, but obviously if you don't want to spoil yourself or anything like that, don't bother looking at it. But he's unique in his own essence. As you can tell from this episode, his regeneration is completely through the roof, and then you think he's getting killed and finessed by a good handful of characters, and then he ultimately transforms into something else entirely, which like this massive conglomerate of RC cells or a Kagane or Kagaja or whatever all over the place, and he's unstoppable. So he's a monster at the end of the day. Like, Noro is a pretty wild character, and I'm glad they kind of done him justice. They gave him a lot of a screen time in this episode, especially because he's going to be a big moving point in the final episode as well. But do expect to see him a lot more specifically, hopefully, I should say, in the final episode, considering there is still a big fight to go on with him, obviously in this new form. And then we have Shiraza, Yuri, Matsuki, and Seiko, which the Seiko scene was pretty nicely handled as well, activating her Kagane for the first time and helping out. I thought that was a really nice touch. But Noro definitely took the spotlight for me in terms of this episode, and I guess I just appreciated how much spotlight they actually put on him, as well as like the music they wrapped around him. It was very interesting, and it was overall pretty enjoyable. Now the final situation is a mix of two different fights, and it also tailors into the climatic final fight of the season, which you see right at the end of the episode with Eto and the big massive full Kagaja that she obviously has coming into the picture. We start off with the Hayase versus Tsukiyama situation, and through the fight we slowly start to trickle in Kaneki's memories. Obviously a good handful of people know what's around the corner. The Hayase and Tsukiyama fight is interesting because one, it's kind of like a precursor for what's to come. Two, it's slowly kind of accelerating Kaneki's memories, and then obviously Karen comes into the picture, who's kind of out of control at this point thanks to the Eto brainwashing or whatever, and basically she's trying to destroy Kaneki, or Hayase. She's trying to do her best to obliterate him and do all of this stuff, and that's kind of when we wrap in a flashback for that character, just to add a bit more relevancy, just to add a bit more emotion and what that character went through, how they appreciated Tsukiyama. And I kind of like the way they play on a lot of these characters that work underneath Tsukiyama, because he's such a esteemed person. So like these people hold a lot of compassion for Tsukiyama and a lot of emotion for him as, you know, someone that they serve, and it's kind of a, you know, a touching thing. It's nice to see. Karen's probably the, you know, top tier when it comes to people that are just like obsessed with Tsukiyama and that serves him to the fullest extent, and you know, she's done a great job with it. She's very grateful. I think overall the fight between Hayase and Tsukiyama, and then Hayase and Karen, it wasn't all too bad. There's a nice little moment in there where Hayase completely boots Karen's head off. Honestly, so great to see. I'm glad they put that scene in there, and it kind of just goes from there. You know, it goes towards more so in Hayase's favor as he has his arm ripped off, but he's slowly getting memories. He's slowly kind of losing control of himself. He's slowly getting more abilities back, or at least that's to say, he's getting more aggressive, and it goes from there. And it becomes more one-sided then. Now Hayase's taking the lead. He's basically demolished Karen at this point. He's about to kind of obliterate her, but then Tsukiyama's like, please don't do it. There's so much more here. You know what I mean? Like, she's precious to me, basically. So that's basically where they end off the episode. To completely leave it off, like I said, they have a nice little scene of Eto in her full Kagaja coming towards the battlefield. So you obviously know what's about to go down. Massive fight, it's on its way. Massive return of a specific character is on its way, and it's just slowly escalating to that point. To be honest, I'm very excited for this final episode, just to see how they kind of wrap things into a conclusion, just to see how they handle both fights, which obviously the Noru situation segues into the final episode, and obviously Eto is also a big climatic fight as well for the season finale. Overall, I think the episode was, you know, pretty simple, pretty enjoyable, just a lot of fighting, a little bit of emotion that they wrapped in there. Pacing wise, I don't think I really cared all too much. I felt like it was just fighting, and then that's about it. So nothing else you could really ask for. I guess better animation at the end of the day, because at some places it was decent, and other places it was just like sucky, but you know, that's the usual at this point. We're 11 episodes in, so that's what you gotta expect. Music, pretty decent as usual. I'm excited to see how they handle the music and animation in the final episode next week, so that's always going to be interesting to see. But that's basically it. With that being said, I do have an announcement. For those of you who have not heard, season 2 for the Tokyo Ghoul reanime did get announced recently, and it is supposedly releasing in October later this year. So I'm not sure how many episodes it is, because I've seen a lot of weird rumors going around, but do note that next week's episode will be its last until later on in the year, where they'll return. They released a teaser image if you do want to go check that out for yourself. There is more Tokyo Ghoul reanime on the way, but overall, let me know what you thought of this episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was incredible, or did you think it was garbage? So with that being said, I'm actually going to end the video off here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys in the next video.